So I always feel like I want to be the Afrikaner that goes out of the lager and shows people how amazing the Afrikaans culture is. And I want to take people from inside the lager out and go, let's look at how amazing the rest of the country and the rest of the creatives are in our country. And I think we're at an amazing place right now. But I just that's why I say with these things, I love making sketch comedy, and I think looking from the outside in, people think it's just he wakes up and then he makes these things, but there's a lot of thought that goes into it because it's such a powerful tool. You have to take it serious and understand responsibility.
It's great to meet you here on Zoom.
The pleasure is mine.
Listen, I follow you on Instagram and I really enjoyed your content. And because I'm also South African, I know some of the humor that you use, and it's brilliant.
Thank you.
So tell me, have you always been the funny guy?
Yeah, I think like since I was like a small boy growing up in a small town called Potchefstroom, me and my friend Konrad Verwey, they had a camera, so we always imitated like Leon Schuster skits and the stuff that he did in his films. So from a young age, like we did that as like fun. But there comes a point in your life when you realize like you got this gift of comedy, and you all of a sudden you're the funny guy in school, and you're the guy that makes kids laugh in class, and the teacher laughs at you. So there comes a point where like, hey, I've got this magic trick inside of me that I can pull a rabbit from a hat whenever I need to. And whether it's a coping mechanism, that's a whole other discussion or looking at it. But sometimes it is, I guess. But I guess my whole life I've been someone that looks at life from a lighter angle.
Well, I wanted to say now that I think comedians look at life from a different side, because I saw the sketch you did about the potholes, and I think, the potholes in South Africa, it's really a big problem, but yet you see the lighter side of it, but not just the lighter side of it. It's you sort of make a little sting, that to say that this is what we have to deal with.
Yeah. So comedy is more like a bandage than it's like a operation. Meaning like if you need big operations to get to the root of the problem, and then you remove the cancerous, whatever it is in this metaphor.
Yeah.
But comedy puts a bandage over something, so it's not a long-term solution. So in South Africa's case, with potholes and load shedding and all the challenges we have on a daily basis, comedy helps to shed light in the dark times where it's like another pothole issue, and you're so tired of everything that's here.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about comedy. So you've got this ability to make people laugh in a time where it's difficult to laugh, and just kind of. And comedy also has got the power to hold up a mirror to the ones in power, and to hold people kind of accountable in some way, because no one wants to be the laughing stock. But if you hold up a mirror to the government, in our case for the pothole skits, it's like you say something that everyone's feeling. But also how comedy works is there's always a victim, unfortunately. I mean, every joke you tell is two guys walking to a bar, and there's always a victim in a comedy, in a joke, in a sketch. So unfortunately, that's part of a comedy as well. Someone has to be the butt of the joke.
But you also have a great observer, because you in your sketches, it's very sort of fine humor. You sort of you realize that you observe people a lot to get to do your comedy.
Yeah. Well. So, like as a South African, you have to like stuff like politics and just all the different cultures and languages that comes with being a South African. Like we're wired in a different way. Doesn't mean we're better than anyone else. There's something different to our fiber. So I love to read the news. I love South Africa's history, and it shows where we can go. It puts emphasis on our future. So and everything with regards to comedy and storytelling and movies and films and music, it's all about relationship. And what we always try to do with our sketches is make sure the relationship is true and honest. And we don't just want to make jokes for we don't want easy laughs. Like we won't necessarily swear just because it's funny to swear. If we swear in a sketch, it has to be motivated, and we don't want to go under the belt because it's too easy. So we kind of like pride ourselves in trying to write something that's a little bit not slapstick, but also sophisticated. But like I said at the end, the kind of comedy that we like and we like to make is the stuff that kind of makes you think. That like I always want to make content that asks questions. You look at it and you go, "Oof, I never thought about it that way," or it's like, "Wow, that's actually true what he just said." So I feel like there's responsibility towards comedians, especially in places like South Africa. I mean, all our wounds, like everyone knows South Africa's history, our wounds came from people. It's like basic relationship 101. Your partner, husband, wife, we hurt each other on a daily basis, and that's South Africa's history with our citizens. But the flip side is our healing also comes from people. So that's why I like, as a like white Afrikaans male living in South Africa, given our history, I'm like, hey, I want to be part of the solution. So let me write comedy that holds people accountable, but shows my weaknesses and shows the vulnerability of who I am as like a Bouwer and Afrikaans guy, but also come to the table and say, listen, but these things are also not right. So the comedy, like we take comedy serious. That's actually, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to, yeah.
But it's interesting that you say that you think about it and that you don't use the easy way, like swearing and making, that type of comedy. And do you think this is sort of the trend nowadays, that it's easy to get into this sort of way of doing comedy to attract audiences?
Yeah, I think it's horses for courses. Everyone's got their own niche or own thing they want to do. There's people that like to swear a lot. They want to make dirty jokes, and it's just not my cup of tea. It's not the stuff I relate to. It's not the stuff that interests me. And like I say, given the context of where I find myself, South Africa is a gold mine with regards to content and stories, because we're sitting with 12 cultures, 12 languages. I mean, which other country? And I mean, that's all South African citizens. I'm not talking about like London or like New York, where it's like it's a big city and there's people from other nationalities living there. I'm talking about we're all South African, but we're 12 different people. And I mean, just that, the misunderstandings that can come from that, the comedy, but also just the similarities. There's also the thing, like we focus so much on what makes us different in the world. And South Africa, especially, it comes down to a stupid thing like skin color. It's like, it always comes down to this, but it's not. It's about culture. Like we're different because it's about culture, not because of skin color. I mean, me and you, we've got the same skin color, but we're worlds apart from how we were brought up and how we think. And that's a culture. So, but just the melting pot of South Africa, how beautiful the differences of the people and the cultures and the languages are. I just find it like, this is where I want to make content, and this is the stories I want to tell and show the world. These things, at the end of the day, they're all universal. Everyone can relate. Like I take stuff like shows on Netflix. The biggest shows of like the last 2 years wasn't even English. It's like the Money Heist, which is a Spanish heist, like a bank robbery show. It's called Money Heist here, but it's got another name in other countries. And then something like Squid Game, which is a Korean. That was the biggest show of the last year on Netflix, and it wasn't even English. And that shows you like stories are just universal. Like if you can tap into like the vulnerability of people, everyone can relate, no matter the language.
But you do mostly your comedy in English.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes we'll write Afrikaans, like my mother tongue is Afrikaans. Sometimes I'll write something in Afrikaans, but I'm a musician as well. So my music is Afrikaans, and that's how I came into the entertainment industry, is through music. But what happened, like for me, with regards to the content, is like we're sitting with 66 million South Africans, and I mean, I think like Afrikaans people are maybe 4 or 5 million, which is a super minority. So it was like, hey, I've got all these stories inside of me. They're not necessarily Afrikaans in the sense, like it's not culturally, it's not a culture story. It's about like, just, hey, I find myself in this amazing country. So that's the main reason I started making content in English, is so that it can be more universal, so that other cultures can experience what I do. Like I always use like the analogy, like I'm Afrikaans, so we come from like the voortrekkers, which is like we had these lagers back in the day to protect ourselves from like the Zulus, and we all know the Slag van Bloedrivier and all the events that went down with the British to come here. So we grew up with the history as Afrikaners to like pull a lager, no one comes in, no one comes out, be safe, protect. So I always feel like I want to be the Afrikaner that goes out of the lager and shows people how amazing the Afrikaans culture is. And I want to take people from inside the lager out and go, let's look at how amazing the rest of the country and the rest of the creatives are in our country. And I think we're at an amazing place right now. But I just that's why I say with these things, I love making sketch comedy, and I think looking from the outside in, people think it's just he wakes up and then he makes these things, but there's a lot of thought that goes into it because it's such a powerful tool. You have to you have to take it serious and understand responsibility.
Well, I look at your sketches and I think it's really it's the quality, it's so well thought of, and all the small little detail that you put in that really encapsulates the life there in South Africa, and I think it's really of a standard that's an international standard, for the work that you're doing. Yeah,
I appreciate it. That means
no,
a lot.
really. But you also have a partner that you work with.
Yeah, so I've got a partner, Themba. So I've got two partners. Me and my friend Benny Fourie. We actually got an ad agency. So we shoot commercials for big brands, and that's actually also sketches in a way. It's just more focused on a brand, and at the end there's a hard sell element to it to push a certain product. So I've got two parts of creating sketches and making comedy. The one is with my partner Benny Fourie, and the other one is with my other partner Themba Robin, and we do more stuff that's just like South Africa, because I'm a white guy, he's a black guy. There's always just the massive misunderstandings that can happen. So it's easy for us to just come together and just think of like the most ridiculous things, because that is how South Africa looks. The guy that sits next to you is from a different culture or different speaks a different language. So this immediately something you can relate to when you see something we've written or we create. So it's super fun working with him, just because you can do things that you can't normally do. And he's also got a big passion to kind of like not spread hope, but to like kind of inspire people and want to make people laugh. Because I mean, we live in South Africa. We understand we also go through potholes. We also have load shedding. It's not like we're different than anyone else here. So we both have like a passion and a heart for keeping it light and trying to help people through the tough times.
Yeah, but I've seen some of your ads as well, and you also use humor in your ads.
Yeah, for us, it's basically, well, it's the one thing we're good at. I'm sure if we put the hard yards in, we can probably turn out a tear jerker if we want to. But it's something that comes natural for us. It's about how we look at life. That is why I think 90% of the things we'll do is always a comedy, because that is how we view life. We see someone at the traffic light, and we see. That's why I say it's like a blessing in a way. The comedians have got a sixth sense to see things in a different way, and to package it in a way that you've never looked or seen look at it before. So that's why I think we'll always just stick to comedy, because it comes natural. It's not like we sit there, we need to make it funny. It's like it is funny because that's our viewpoint.
Yeah.
And also that's the emotional part of it. The other part of it is just where brands are at and marketing is at. The stuff you share on your WhatsApp groups or your SMS groups to your friends and families, normally it's a super inspiring. Oh, this is a beautiful message that I saw, or a beautiful quote, or you send something funny because you want to make your friends laugh. So at the end of the day, it's just a powerful tool to help get a message across. And comedy's got a way of, comedians have got like a free into people's hearts. It's the same with musicians. I mean, you don't know your favorite musician personally, but that that one lyric that'll always hit you and it'll always make you cry or take you back to your first love, your first kiss. So the arts has got that ability to like enter your soul without permission. And comedy is like that. Like you don't know these people, you've never met them, but this is making me laugh, so I want to share it to other people. So the one side is just brands like comedy because it's shareable.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this the lighter side and the comedy side of things, it's so uplifting. So you always have that, and like you say, people share that and want to make somebody else laugh as well. So it is an absolute great tool for that. But do you
Yeah.
sometimes offend people through your comedy?
Petra, you have no idea. You have no idea. Let me tell you a recent story. So the Springboks is South Africa's national rugby team, and we just and the World Cup was just finished. It was in France. A lot of the games was played on Sundays. Now, majority of people that think in South Africa is kind of, well, maybe the majority of Afrikaans people I experienced through this is very conservative. So I made a sketch. I made 3 of a pastor. So it's Sunday
I
game
saw
time.
them.
So I made a sketch of like a pastor. He can't focus on the sermon because tonight is the big quarterfinal. So the whole sketch is like him trying to preach, but he keeps on messing it up, and he puts players' names in the sermon accidentally. So it's a lot of puns, rugby puns, player name puns. And I put it on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And I swear to you, like 500 plus people on Facebook was like, this is blasphemy. It is wrong. You can't make jokes like you're mocking God and stuff like that. But the interesting thing was no one on TikTok and Instagram found it offensive. So I immediately, and I didn't expect. So it just taught me like people on Facebook are a lot more conservative. I think it's an older generation. And they were just like super offended by that old sketch. So I did 2 follow-up ones that I didn't put on Facebook just because it's gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna offend people that they don't like the stuff I make, but they're gonna see it, and then they're gonna just give me flack in the comment section. So no, a lot of times. I mean, I did a sketch now, which is, I don't know if you know about a town called Oranje in South Africa.
Yeah.
So I made a sketch about like how do the people there celebrate if
I saw
person
that
with
one.
color. Yeah, so it's a risky one to do, but it's, for me, it was just a funny thought. Like, how do they celebrate the players of color? And it's not, so I'm not trying to point fingers. I was like holding up a mirror, asking the question. And there were people that got offended, which I understand, because it is a risky one. But they were also, the majority didn't get offended. So that's why I say comedy's always got a victim. We did a few other ones, like I say, when you make a joke about like the tourism industry or the potholes or load shedding, that's the government. We're directly making fun of the government. So that's why I say sketches and comedy has always got a victim, unfortunately. But like I say, we don't stir and cause controversy just because it's clickbait. It's easy clicks. You want to go viral. It's never that. It's because I want to ask a question about South Africa, where I find myself, and I want to share it with the world. But you get used to it too.
But I think it's also important that we should laugh at ourselves. And I think I saw the ones that you did about the pastor during the rugby season or the rugby time. I found it extremely funny because I grew up in a conservative church like that. So, and you know, I just found it very funny. I wasn't offended by anything, but
I think but that's the thing. You get people. I want to show you something, but you get people that'll get offended, and there's always the ones. But at the end of the day, like that's why I say, I don't do this for praise, and I don't do this for the critic. You do it because you believe in what you want to say, and you want to share what you have to say, and then hopefully there's people that will agree and people who won't agree. But I want to see if I find the photo. Someone sent me actually a photo of a pastor. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to just hold it up. This is actually where's the camera? A pastor. This was in the newspaper. A pastor that was preaching in his Springbok jersey after they won. So I was like, there we go. I knew it. There we go.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
He's your guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
No,
I mean,
so.
but what you're saying, Pedro, we should laugh more at each other. Not at each other. We should laugh more at ourselves. We can't. Who are you not to laugh at yourself? Like we have to laugh at ourselves, and we always say like let's laugh with each other instead of at each other, instead of like the different cultures and so on. But sometimes we're way too serious.
I think it's easier, like you say, you know, when you make fun of the government because everybody is angry about the potholes. But the moment you start making fun of, you know, this is also what I saw, how you make fun of WhatsApp groups. And
Yeah.
but then it's us, then it's really us,
Yeah,
because
it's
it's so
closer.
true.
becomes
It's so
closer.
true.
Yeah,
I could actually identify the people, that you
exactly.
make fun of. And I think that's the
Yeah,
thing with the offending part, is that you see yourself actually, and you see how ridiculous it is,
yeah,
and then that's a bit scary too.
yeah.
Then
So,
yeah,
so the sketch about the Oranje and places like Oranje, like I knew white people are gonna watch that sketch and they're gonna react towards where they are at personally with their own conversation with race. And that is how you'll react. If you're gonna be offended, then it's like you need to have more conversations with yourself. If you think it's fun, you're gonna be like, yeah, I understand. I know people like that. I know people that celebrate like that. So that's the thing with what these things do, is you see yourself and you react from a place where you find yourself at within the topic or the conversation on the table.
but now we talk about South Africa and about all the humor and all the material you get there. But how easy was it for you to get yourself established and start making films? I mean, did you have any experience in making films?
So I actually started making films after I came to the music industry through music. We started a band in 2006 when I was studying in Potchefstroom and just journalism. And there was a gap in the market to make music videos. And I bought a camera and I started telling stories through music videos. So I had the experience of being on the production side of things, shooting, organizing, and telling short stories, music videos. So that I had zero training at all in terms of like what's correct and what's wrong. I just you just wing it.
That was your band, so you did your own music videos for your band.
Yes. Yeah. So we actually, the first 4 years we didn't do the music videos ourselves because I didn't see it. So after like 5 years in the music industry, I was like, hey, I can do music videos because it's so expensive to outsource it. Let me buy a camera and just figure it out myself. So only later I started doing music videos for my band. But I did music videos for lots of artists in South Africa, very, very big commercial artists. So it's a range of everything. So, and then 2011, 2012, a friend of mine that's a writer, he came back from Korea teaching English there. And there was a big film festival in South Africa. And they said you can enter your scripts and your stories. And me and him kind of came up with the idea of a short story. And then he wrote the script. So he's a good script writer, and I came with the production side of things. And it was just a great blend because you need both of those things to kind of make it happen. And his name is Benny Free, and we're partners still today in the company that makes these things. But yeah, there's no training. We are, what I always say is surround yourself with people that's better than you, because then firstly you look great, but it's also it's free education. You learn from people that's good, and it's free. Yeah.
And you inspire each other.
Exactly. Yeah. You see each other's blind spots, but also he's someone that's incredible with comedy. So if he brings something to the table, you can up it. You can go, oh, dude, but what about this? And then he's like, oh no, but what about this? So it's just we always call it like a volleyball match. You hit the ball around, but only the one guy gets to smash the point. And that's how these creative things are. Everyone's hitting the ball around, but only one guy gets to make the ultimate joke or the punchline or whatever.
And now you said you also did videos for other artists, but this is a lucrative business for you? It's in South Africa. This is something that you can do.
So music videos, no. Making music videos for artists is unfortunately not viable at all. Just because I don't know why there's so little money. I don't know why record label. Well, first of all, independent artists, they don't have the money to put 30,000 or 40,000 down. But the record labels don't want to do it as well. It depends obviously on how big the artists are. But in my case, it was never viable. You do it, you pay everyone well, and you walk away with something on your CV. And in hindsight, it helps. It helps to go, listen, I've done all these jobs. This is the quality of what I deliver. So that helps. But the other side of it, the content side, that's definitely a whole nother story, because marketing, 80% of the things you see on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram is boosted posts. It's algorithm related. I mean, if I say sparkling water right now. You're going to see a sparkling water ad somewhere in the next day. You're going to see something. So that's how crazy it is. So with marketing, then it's a whole different ballgame. That's what I do full time with my life. I don't do a lot of music anymore. I do 90% of my life consists of writing and sketch, writing and shooting and acting and directing. Just because that's where the world is at right now. Everything changed with social media and how massive it is at the moment. It's cheaper to make something now than way back. Meaning, conservative TV is dead in a sense. Like no one sits in front of a TV and you wait through ads. Now everything is streamed. You can pause, you can forward, and everything's online. So and the quality of phones is getting so ridiculous. So the camera on a phone is getting incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The more people can do with musicians, especially more people can make better looking stuff for cheaper.
Well, this is true, and the great marketer Seth Godin said this. That now everything is so available and it's so accessible, but that makes it also tricky because you have to really stand out and you really have to do your thing. And I have to congratulate you with that because you really stand out. And I absolutely love your work. And so what's next for you now? What's the big dream for you?
Yeah, well, I appreciate your kind words. I don't think people understand how insecure one can get about anything you create, because like the arts is a different beast of an industry, because what you create you have to put out there, and you put out there for not the world, because the world doesn't see this, but you have to put it out there and like go, okay guys, so this is what I thought of. I'm gonna be vulnerable right now. I think it's funny. And then like the first comment is, you're lame, whatever. So a big part of doing this is just managing your own insecurities and also believing that, hey, I have something to say, and I believe what I'm saying right now is the right thing. But thanks for saying that. It helps to for those insecure moments especially. But I mean, what's next is we're finishing up the year with regards to my company Freckle, that we just have to shoot a few commercials for the year to get that out of the way. And then the whole time I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of what's happening in South Africa the whole time, because every day there's something silly happening that you can jump on. I mean, just yesterday, the physical World Cup trophy, it was broken into the offices in Johannesburg. So SARU is like South African Rugby Union, and they broke into the offices. They didn't steal the World Cup trophy because it wasn't there or something. I didn't read the article, but I mean, that's massive news. So every day is like we just won that thing 2 weeks ago. So every week there's something new. So I try to like figure out, what do I want to do? What I want to hop on? Because also, you have to have a personal life and you have to also chill in between. And I like to rest hard as well and just relax. But I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just trying to figure out what we want to say next and what we want to create next.
So you are always busy thinking and observing. Do you ever shut your brain down that you think, okay, now?
I like to read a lot of news. So I don't want to say I like to read a lot. I listen to audiobooks, but I read news every day. So that helps you to go, oh, this is funny, let's try to do this. So that helps you but you have to stay informed. I mean, if you want to comment on South Africa and the people here, you have to be informed on what's happening. You can't have an outdated viewpoint. But I also love playing PlayStation, so I've got lots of time just to like kick back and like don't care about anything else, and just being at home and playing PlayStation pretty much. But
well, I can say tell you my son does that as well, and he's now convinced me that it's a good thing to play PlayStation. Yeah,
not a shame. I just in the right, what do you call it? Not too much. What's the word? How can I phrase it?
A balance. So you have to get the balance.
Yeah, balance. Yeah. If it starts ruining your life and taking over, then sure, it's
no.
But for me, it's just like a way to like end the day.
Yeah, I think it's that. What I understand now about it, it's that just taking you a little bit away from reality. That just
it's like watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's just that. Just for an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't want to make a decision apart from who I'm going to shoot on this TV screen on the game. That's all I want to decide on.
But I'm just thinking now, I wonder if your family and friends are sometimes a bit cautious when you're around. But are you also in the family? Do you make fun of
No,
things?
the strange thing is I'm not the jokester or the prankster when
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
family gatherings. I've thought about it a lot, like why aren't I like that? It's either, and I honestly I don't know
Mm.
why. It's either like it's the one space where I don't have to,
Have to.
meaning I
Yeah.
can actually just like,
Mm.
hey man, just chill.
Mm.
Meaning, but it doesn't mean like I'm on the whole time. It's not like I walk around being, oh, you have to be the funny man. It's not
Oh,
like that
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
just like I'm not here to be that and do that. I'm here to like catch up and hear what's
Mm.
up with
Do people
everyone.
expect that from you, really?
I don't think so. I think maybe
Okay.
in my early days where I was a lot more active on social
Mm.
media, a lot more outspoken. I'm actually super chilled now. When I was younger, like I don't know when you
Mm.
started following the stuff I do, but when I was younger, I was like a typical young guy with a voice, meaning I felt like I had to comment on everything. And then I wasn't informed. I just
Yeah.
commented on stuff to say something. And it was like, he's just why? It's stupid. You're burning you're putting your foot in your mouth the whole time. So I'm actually a lot more toned down now. But it's also because I understand what has more power. It's like think it through
Yeah.
and like that's why like history is so important when you unpack it over time. Like you can't uh it's like Christianity is like that. Like it's 2000 years old. That's why it's still so powerful for some people because you can unpack it for like 2000 years where something that happened yesterday it's like you can't really understand what happened yesterday. You can know what happened, you have the facts, but the
Yeah.
why of it, that takes time to unpack and figure out. And yeah, I think that's pretty much also the approach
Mm.
with these things. So I don't think so. When I was younger I was super controversial for stupid reasons, and now it's like, hey, just let it simmer. You know
Mm.
what you want to say. Like a good example, that sketch about the people in Oranje. That was like 2 months. I had that idea for 2 months, and I had to like sit. Okay, but what's the best angle? Should I do it during the World Cup? Is it gonna be a bummer? Is gonna people be like, "Oh, dude, we're winning now, man. Why do you
Yeah.
wanna?" So you have to like simmer on
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah,
Yeah. So you have to know when to stir a little, the pot a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah.
But now, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Hmm. Sure. I think never underestimate like time. Like everyone always says like life is short, and it is short. But if I think of like the amazing life I've had so far, I went through a terrible divorce, so I've also had like the worst of times. But just how many times my life has changed with regards to like doing interesting and cool things that I never thought I'd do by just being open to things, not to think like, oh, it's never too late to switch careers, so it's never too late to pursue something new. I'm turning 40 next year, so and I've had an amazing life so far, and hopefully it'll be another 40, 50 years ahead of me. But you don't have to have all the answers now. You don't have to have everything figured out now. Like time helps to like let you simmer inside who you really are. Like when like a pot de potjie kos, what would that be, like a stew? Like
Yeah.
it takes time for the stew to get all the flavors and yeah, get to the perfect kind of mix who you are. So yeah, I think it's kind of that is don't trust time.
I think that's such great advice because also, I mean, all the people that I talk to, you can see when they talk about their careers, also, you see there was a long period of time that it took for things to really happen. And I think today we live in this very instant world, and young people grow up in this very instant world where something today, if you want something today, you get it today.
Yeah.
And this time period that needs to happen for you to evolve and for you to get to that point, so where you are today. I think that's so important to realize that all these things take time.
Yeah, I've started to see a life coach like earlier this year for like my next big dream and thing I want to pursue. And there's a question he asked is like, how long did it take you to get where you are now? And then my answer I think was like say 7 years or something like that. And then it's like, so how long do you think it's going to take for your next thing to happen? And I was like, probably 6 months. And then it's like, but if it took you 7 years to get where you're at now, and the next dream is just like, it'll probably also take
Yeah,
7 years. So you just put time into, that wasn't an answer necessarily, because things can go faster, but it's just like you can't rush these things. You
exactly.
can't rush these things. Everyone wants a photo on top of Table Mountain, but you have to walk there if you don't take the cable
Exactly.
car. But so
Yeah.
people don't want to take the first step, and it takes, you can't get to the top of Table Mountain with one step. It's whatever, 100,000 steps. I don't know. Never been there.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. But Bouwer, this was so great talking to you. You've got such a great energy, really.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. It was awesome chatting. I love chatting about these things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And really, I wish that you could come and do a show or a sketch in Vienna. That would be great.
Oh, that'll be amazing. Thanks, Peter. It was good to meet you.
Lovely
Have
to
a
meet
lucky
you
day.
too.
You
Thank
too.
you, you
Bye-bye.
too. Bye. Bye.
Bye.